Guys, it's official. Run DFW is back in the 2025 TBT tournament that will be taking place this summer. But that's not all. Leading up to that, we have a lot of very exciting things that we're going to be rolling out for you, including our Beyond the Arc podcast, our Coach's Corner with Jake and Tebow, and other content that we will be posting on our YouTube. So make sure that you go subscribe and like all of those videos because we're going to be spamming you with the highest quality basketball content around. And if you're looking for ways that you can become interactive, be on the lookout for a fan club that we're going to be launching very soon so that way you can support us and we can give it right back at you. On top of all of that, over these next few months leading up to the tournament, we're going to be looking for ways to interact with our community and get involved with all of you guys because we want to build this fan base and we want to thank you guys for supporting us in all of the ways that you do. So on behalf of all of Run DFW, I want to thank you and all of the support that you guys provide us in building the Dallas basketball community. Stay in touch with everything going on here at Run DFW so that way we can go win this TBT in the summer.
What's up, everyone? This is Jay Warren, and welcome to the Beyond the Arc podcast.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Brain Griffiths. I'm here with one of the most well-respected veteran pros out there from Garland, Texas, Jay Warren. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good, my man. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming out. So we've actually gotten to know each other a little bit more recently. We've talked on the phone a couple times.
Absolutely.
Now have you here. But we met back in 2020, Lifetime Allen, at those noon runs, and Jay used to give me problems off the switch.
Well, I gave everybody problems off the switch. You're just one of the many victims.
Just one of the victims. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, man. Really, really happy that you were able to make it out. We just want to start at the top. You know, like, how'd you fall in love with the game? Tell me a little bit about your upbringing. I believe you're from Dallas, right?
Yeah. So
I'll just kind of give you the floor and let you open up.
Yeah. So I'm originally from Iowa, but I went to high school here. So high school, went to Garland Lakeview, and a lot of people don't know, except basically my high school team, is that I was basically the 11th or 12th man on the bench. So I didn't even really play.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't play. We had a name that we always say, Shooter's Top Crew, because for every game I was just always wear the shooter's top.
Yeah.
And I would never get in the game. It wasn't until basically I think it was like the second to last or third to last game of the year where coach put me in, and I basically caught a body. I dunked on somebody, and then after that, because everybody was surprised. I was worked hard and all that stuff, but like I was undersized in high school, so I guess in the game of basketball, size matters for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
So after that third game, that's when he started giving me more playing time. But prior to that, I was 11th, 12th man off the bench.
And this was all the way until your senior year?
It was all the way through my senior year. So I didn't even like our team was really good. Like we lost to regionals to the state championship, which was Kimball at the time. Mm-hmm. So actually we lost to them my junior and senior year. So they had really good. They were really good. They had Sasser, because he ended up getting drafted, and it was somebody else. But they had a really good squad. And we lost to them in the second round, both my junior and senior year. But like our team was stacked. But I should have been starting.
Yeah.
Or I didn't even start, but I should have at least been playing. But I was 5, 8, 9, 10, something like that.
All the way until your senior year.
Yeah, I was 5'3" my freshman year. So,
yeah.
So I was 5'3" my freshman year, and I grew a little bit. I was like 5'10", like I said, 5'10", 5'11", my junior and senior year. But we had 6'4" guards, 6'3" guards. So like I understood why high school coach would because like I said, in basketball, size matters.
Yeah.
But but our team was like we could really go 9, 10 deep if we wanted to with that with our roster, because we had a really good roster, because our practices were intense. Like we grew up together, freshmen through, like we grew up together. So our practice, intense, fights during practice, all that good stuff. So so it was a brotherly thing during that time.
So tell me about like the mental aspect of that. Like, did you always know how'd you know that the goal was still to go to college and play basketball in college? Or just kind of run me through the mental side of that, because I gotta assume that had to have been discouraging, that you maybe weren't getting the minutes that you felt like you deserved, but you still like had all these big dreams and aspirations.
Yeah, so my dream was to play in the Olympics. And I said, well, let me rephrase that. My dream was to be an Olympian, which, it ended up coming true. But it was, because my first love for sport was football. Like I played football before I played anything, and then I got into basketball. But I always wanted like watching the Olympics when I was like 8, 10 or whatever. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an Olympian. Like, I don't know if it was gymnastics or swimming. I just like being in first place and winning gold medals. That's what was appealing to me. That was my dream. Now, when it came to basketball, like, obviously I fell in love with it because, I'm just an athlete and a competitor.
Right.
But it was one of them things where when I wasn't getting the minutes, I didn't really even quote unquote think about going to college, because I was like, how am I going to college and I'm not playing?
Right.
So I took the junior college route. The junior college route, where it's just like, okay, if I go to junior college, then maybe I can get looked at a bigger school. But life was lifing back then like it is now. And then I took like a year and a half off, and then I went to junior college again. And I was like, if I'm going to take this seriously, I got to take it seriously, because I remember when I, quote unquote, quit school, because you said like, the dream is to go to college. I remember going to college and be like, college isn't for me. Like, if I'm going to go to college, I'm going to play basketball and go to college. There's some people who go to college because they want to be, a doctor or a lawyer or whatever. I was like, if I'm going to college, I'm going to play basketball and go to college, and then basketball's going to pay for it. So, that was my mindset. After I remember telling my parents, I was like, man, college isn't for me, because, that's a whole nother story. Anyways, but after I went back the second time, then I was like, that's when I started taking it more seriously, because I was like, if I'm really going to do this, then am I going to use this to, reach my highest potential? Like, I got to like re-engage. I got to stay focused. I got to put in the work to, just at least give me an opportunity to go to, a higher school and then potentially go pro.
Yeah, and talk about like kind of the discipline that takes, because a lot of people talk about motivation, and ultimately motivation is not, discipline is what gets you to your goals. I don't think motivation is really sustainable all the time.
Oh, it's not. It's not. Yeah, I mean, it's easy. Like I say, easy. It's easy when you're easier, I should say, when you're motivated, because I can be like, hey, Braden, let's go do this, blah, blah, whatever. And then, but one day you be like, I just don't feel like it. And then now where am I at?
Right.
Because now I could have been using my motivation, but now I don't have it. So I got to go find it somewhere else. It's just, that's not how it works. It's the discipline that keeps you going. So it's like, I always, share now, especially with, kids and even, pros. It's like, you got to find a routine. You got to be disciplined, because motivation is the thing that puts you over the top. But the discipline is basically doing it when you don't feel like it. It's doing the hard stuff when you don't feel like it. And then, because you got to do it anyways. And then once you do it over time, you'll start seeing results over time. That's what, you start progressing. It's falling in love with that journey. We talk about it off camera, but fall in love with that journey rather than fall in love with the destination. And once you start falling in love with the journey, then the discipline is what's going to, move you forward. It's not the motivation. The motivation is just like the cherry on top.
Right.
So,
yeah. And just to kind of speak to that too, I know for me, like that journey, you can become addicted to it. So like my favorite part about basketball was just getting to see the improvement year after year, and getting to go back to the drawing board, and then you figure it out. You come up with your new routine, you do whatever that looks like on a daily basis, and then you come back the next year and you're a better player. And I got addicted to that. Let's kind of go back to your junior college days, because I know that you eventually ended up going to Missouri Southern.
Yeah.
But what was that process like for you? When did you really feel like you took that next step in your game that kind of gave you that opportunity to go to Missouri Southern?
I would say that when I got to, and this is, it's fun. It's funny because like I still see it today, which is scary.
Yeah.
Like I didn't really learn the game of basketball until I went to college, because then that's when I was being coached by college basketball coaches who actually played or who had coached. Like in high school, there's no disrespect. I love my coaches. Love you, Coach Swag. But like I didn't feel like, because every time I would go into the coach and be like, high school coach, and I'd be like, what I need to work on, the two answers was, get stronger and get faster. But that's not working on your skills. There's footwork, there's IQ, there's how to read, like you talk about how to read the pick and roll. Like none of that stuff I learned until I basically got to the junior college level. And so that was kind of like an aha moment for me when the coach was actually teaching me the game of basketball. And I was like, oh, like you're actually teaching me. You're not just saying, it's not just about me just running up and down and trying to score and shoot, well, it was dunking back then. I know shooting a bunch of threes now. But it's just like just trying to just run up and down, and trying to get dunks. And it's like, no, you're actually teaching me, situations, rather it's the end of it was college, so it's end of the half or end of the game or the last 2 minutes or the first, 3 minutes out of a time, or first play out of a timeout, or the first 3 minutes of the second half. Like you're actually teaching me situations where it's like, okay, like I really got to learn this game. Like I really got, if I'm going to be, a professional, I got to take it seriously. I just can't just think I can just run up and down the court, be the fastest one or the strongest one on the court and be successful. Like I have to understand the game to be successful.
Right. Yeah. And I know for me too, like, cause I had a pretty similar, like learning process, I feel like, cause I think in high school, like you can kind of get away with just being more talented than the opposition.
100%.
In college, like especially for me, which I know I'm not that memorable, so I don't know if you remember playing with me, but I wasn't. I mean, I'm not an athletic player, right? I come in the game and I shoot threes, and so I had to find ways like to separate myself, and a lot of that was like the IQ and knowing the game and being in the right spot. So I definitely can relate to like learning the game that way and really having to focus on it, because that was a way for me to separate myself.
Yeah.
It kind of gave me an advantage.
Well, I mean, I just remember when we played together, I would like, because that's the thing now. It's like I just read the players that are on my team. So like, I'm like, okay, that's what he likes to do. Then let me get him in that spot.
Right.
So he can, so he can operate there. Or let me get him to a spot where he's going to make that shot 50% of the time. You see what I'm saying? So like, even though like, I mean, we played together a few times.
Yeah.
But I could at least read that, in the playing, with us playing. But the thing is like, I think you understood that too, because like, oh, like he understands where I like to be, where I like to score, or, so now it's like, that's what makes the game simple, rather than you see somebody just, ISO dribbling it 25 times and then take a bad shot, and then you just roll your eyes and, go back to the, like, oh, we ain't on our team next time. So.
It was such an, like, it was always a process for us in college, because every time new classes of freshmen would come in, there's just such a difference between playing college basketball and playing high school basketball, and there's such a huge learning curve. So it's like you never wanted to play pickup with the freshmen because they just don't know how to play yet, right? They don't know how to fit in. They don't know how to play a role. They're all trying to prove something. And so a lot of that looks like 25 dribbles and a bad shot instead of moving it and letting it come back around to you. So, can totally relate to that. And I feel like one thing I worry about is at the grassroots level now, like how we're teaching the game to kids. Because I think a lot of AAU basketball right now is one-on-one. It is like just trying to break the full court press by yourself. And so like, kind of like, what's your opinion on the way that we do it, youth development versus youth development overseas and stuff like that?
Yeah, so the basketball academy I created is basically like I modeled it like overseas stuff, because like over there they actually teach the game. Right. Like I said, here it took me till college, and you can, like, even with your story, just listen to that. Like it's almost too late. You know what I mean? Because if you're trying to go pro, like, I mean, you got to speed up that learning curve faster. Because like if you haven't been taught, like if you're just been dependent on your athleticism and your strength and your speed, like and as a college or a pro, everybody has that. So
Right.
what is it you're gonna do? So like as far as like AAU, then yeah, I mean like especially at my academy, that's all I teach. It's like just basic fundamentals. I mean they get mad and bored with me, but I'm like I don't under because they want to come in and just shoot three. They see Steph Curry and James Harden and all that
Yeah.
stuff. And I get it. Like, that's entertainment, but that's why it's like you got to understand those guys get paid to entertain you guys. That's not basketball. Like they have proven themselves throughout their basketball careers to be able to
Yeah.
get paid to get entertainment like that. With you guys, you got to learn the game.
Right.
This is fundamental. So we'll work on I'll be like 3 dribble max because like you're not going to get that many dribbles in a game. Like you're not going to
No
get 25
shot.
dribbles. Yeah. 3 dribble max. Work on layups. Like we're going to learn how to finish around the basket. So you're not just you guys want to shoot threes and you're shooting 5% for threes. But if you get close to the basket, let's learn how to finish around the basket. Now you're shooting about 50%. I'll take those numbers.
Yeah.
50 over 5. I'll take that all day long. Free throws. When you get fouled, that's where you can get your jump shots. Work on your free throws. Just basic layups and free throws, will get you, 10 or 12 points if you are consistent,
That's what I was going to say is like cutting is not a sexy thing to learn.
No, of course not.
But if you're an elite cutter, that could be 2 to 3 baskets a game.
Easily.
Just
Easily.
back cutting people learning how to come off a screen, learning how to come off a down screen. Like a big part I feel like to success at the higher levels, obviously, because like you said, everybody is super strong and super athletic and super fast at the professional level. So you have to really understand the game to separate yourself and make it easier on yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, that's something I'm passionate about is like teaching the game from a young age. I think sometimes AAU doesn't do a good job.
No,
of
they
that.
don't do it at all. Like, I mean, being part of the AAU circuit and just seeing that, like what they promote is winning and exposure. But, and so like you can go to a parent or the parents and be like, hey, come to my organization or hey, come to my program because we're winning. But like what happens when you go to a team that has actually learned the game of basketball and they understand and then that, and you can't beat that team.
Yeah.
Because that's really, like seeing the circuit and stuff like that. It's like they're promoting the players, and I know you want to get into like the NIL and all that stuff later, but like they're promoting the players, because they're like, hey, this player got successful because there was my program. But if you're just winning and you're not developing, I mean, because it's like a quick fix. It's like if you're hungry, let me go to a fast food restaurant. I'm not gonna say any names because we gotta get you some sponsorship. But if you go to a fast food restaurant, you're like, I'm hungry, I can get fed, and then all of a sudden he's like, you want to eat something? He's like, no, I'm good because I just ate. It's the same thing with the AAU concept. Like if I'm winning, like I don't have to teach development because I'm winning.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But the thing is like if you want to win, not just now, but in life forever. Let's put those fundamentals in. Let's put the developmental part in, and then from there you'll learn how. Then, because when adversity hits, now you know how to deal with it. When something you haven't experienced before, or something you have experienced before, now you know how to handle it. And then whether you win or lose, then you can move forward from there in your journey.
In sports, success is not just about talent. It's about having the right tools to make every move count. That's where B1 Sports comes in. With next-level AI technology, we provide the tools so that way you can work harder, play smarter, and stay ahead of the competition. Just like a basketball team needs precise plays, you and your team need precise insights. B1 Sports combines artificial intelligence with sports science to give you all of the tools necessary so that way you can stay ahead of the competition. It all comes down to making smarter moves, being one step ahead, and having faster decision-making so that way you can win on and off the court. No matter what your game plan is, B1 Sports is your AI teammate that you can count on. Get ready to elevate your performance with data-driven AI technology that's always in your corner. Join the future of sports technology today at b1sports.com. It's time to play smarter, compete harder, and win bigger. Go to b1sports.com today.
And what I worry about a lot too is I think there's a lot of, and I'm not thinking about anybody specifically, but I worry sometimes about the kids being taken advantage of in AAU.
Yeah.
Well,
they are.
And in NIL, like with just getting bad advice and also like you said, like they're not being taught how to play the right way. A lot of AAU basketball is kind of just a money thing. And I think a lot of people probably view this NIL space too as like a way to, make money off of it or make money off the kids. But ultimately, I worry sometimes about just the advice that they're getting. And I'd be interested to hear more about what advice you would give some of these kids who are trying to navigate that now, because it is kind of a weird time right now for college sports.
Absolutely.
And there's not a lot of regulation, and there's no salary cap, there's no collective bargaining agreement.
Facts.
And so there's a lot to figure out.
Yeah.
There's a lot to figure out, and a lot of these kids don't know how to, they have to learn all of this on the fly, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would say one, like learn the NIL rules, because like it's the same thing like, with any business or, the game of basketball. Like if you want to play in that space, you got to know the rules of the game. Like
Right.
You can't just expect that you're going to get this money or you're going to do this and you don't know the rules of the game. So I would say learn the rules of the game. And then two is like the same thing, the same concept when it comes to like, it's, having a good team around you. Like get a financial team around you, people who you trust are going to help you, not just, spend your money, but make you money too.
Right.
So like now I have a team in place that, I get this, just keep it a low number. I get $100,000. Okay. I get this $100,000. And I, instead of just going crazy, I need a car, I need some shoes, I need this. It's like, no, let's, you put, let's invest. We'll just keep 10 or 20, and then, and this other 80, whatever. Well, I'll say that, Uncle Sam got to get theirs first.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
After Uncle Sam gets theirs, 80% of it, you can invest it, find stuff to invest in so it can make you money or whatever. And you have a good team on that. And then this, and then the rest, then go ahead and, you have maybe, $5,000 or $10,000 to, kind of play with and, entertain yourself. But we got to make sure that these things are in place, because when this year is up, if you want another 100 or you want 500 or you want $1 million, we just use that same formula. It's just a bigger number. You see what I'm saying? So just if you keep that process instead of saying like, "Hey, I got it," I know I'm gonna get it next year, because you don't know. Just like you were telling me about off camera, like how the guy got injured. So you go to college, you get your NIL deal, and then during the season you get injured. And so are you guaranteed an NIL deal, or is it college? They're like, "Oh, well, I thought you could produce this much. You only gave me this much. Let me go to the portal and find somebody else and give this money to." You see what I'm saying? So like, because they have their agenda too. So I mean, it just, like I said, it's so many different factors and equations and all that stuff that go into it. But I would say you got to at least learn the rules, and then once you have those rules, then you know how to play the game better, and then just get that financial team in place where when you're making this money, where to invest it, and then the other you can like keep for yourself or use for entertainment, or if you want to do something for your parents or whatever.
Right.
But at least you have a budget in place where it's going to last you until your next NIL deal, because you're not guaranteed it's not like Major League Baseball, basketball, where it's guaranteed. This is just for that year, so you got to make sure things are in place for that year until the next year is involved.
So I know everybody's situation is different, right?
Yeah.
With their families and stuff like that. And everybody's motivated in different ways. But how would you, if you were in college now, how would you balance finding the right school or finding the most money? Because I think a lot of kids now, they're just trying to find the bag, right? They're just chasing the bag. But then they ultimately make bad career decisions long term because they go to the wrong school.
Yeah.
So how would you kind of balance that?
So, I think it's easier to say like, when from a business standpoint now that I'm older than when I'm 19, because like at 19, you can have, if you have like 4 or 5 schools going for you, then you can kind of use leverage against each school. But if you don't have that luxury, say for example, it's only one school that wants you, then your instinct is just to take it, know. But I would say, because people are like, hey, make as much money as possible. I don't always think that's the right answer, because if you go for that money and then all of a sudden you're not getting that playing time that you want or whatever, are you gonna really be happy? Because you can be like, oh yeah, I got $5 million in the bank account, like I'm good. but are you really good? Because you're supposed to be playing basketball and you're only, 18, 19, 20 years old. Like, this is what you want to do. Like, you're playing a kid's game, in college. So, even I would say if you get an offer, like if you have an offer, then a school that you want to go to, or a school that, was interested in you in the past or whatever, then reach out to them and be like, hey, this is what this school offered me. I really want to go here because this. But and this is what they're offering me. But I can maybe go less if you can guarantee me this. That you know what I'm saying. Just a level of negotiation where you can put yourself in that better position. So that would be my my suggestion. But again, I think that especially at 18, 19, I think I would say your parents they definitely need to be involved. But I would say you still need like a team of people you trust that's gonna not worry about just the now but the future, because this is like I said, with the transfer portal and new kids coming in and other people playing this game, like you don't know, like because it's like almost like overseas now. It's year to year. Like you got to play this game year to year, and if you're not you're not prepared for it mentally, or you think that you're good, just because somebody gave you a big bag and then, like I said, you get hurt, or, like you don't perform and then like, we don't want you next year. Like, you're in trouble. So I think you do have to have some type of game plan in place to at least, get you through, however long. Because even now, I was talking about this the other day, like even now, like say you're, a 5-star recruit, and then they want you to go into the league, next year, but then college is going to pay you more. Like what do you do then?
Right.
Like, do you want to, take your, your dream may be in the NBA, but like, is it smarter just to stay in college in another year, or, redshirt a year, and then do another? I'm like, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, because you can, if you're looking from a business standpoint, you could probably make more in college if you go all 4 years than making the NBA. And then maybe, after that, you're not guaranteed unless you're a lottery pick, but you're not guaranteed after that 3rd year that you're going to make money. So it's a lot of, that's what I mean. It's a lot going on right now where you got to kind of like figure out what the best situation is. So, I know I didn't give you a direct answer.
No. It's hard to give direct answers to it because there's so many questions about it.
Exactly.
And I think that the discourse is so weird to me because sometimes people will be like, oh, this guy's 25. What is he still doing in college? It's like, okay, if I was getting 7-figure money at 25, I'm not saying no to that to come back to school. Like you're trying to, like that is what's best for you in your future.
Exactly.
100%.
To be fair, the person who's asking that question isn't getting set 25 either. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like the landscape has changed. The rules of the game have changed. So, you got to adjust accordingly. So, I get it. I'm glad that, I'm old enough where I helped set the pay. But I was like, in college, I was like, man, I was broke. I was like, man, I wish they were paying like they were now. Like when I was in college, I'd have been good.
Yeah. Ultimately, are you a fan of it?
No, I am. Yeah. I am. Yeah. I don't know if I've done another podcast bashing the NCAA or not, but because it's just hypocritical of the NCAA to do that. That's
right.
Why, it's like, they can make billions off, the backs of, student labor. And then, but if you go have lunch with an agent, then they want to cut you off for a year. Like it makes zero.
Crazy.
Yeah, it makes 0 sense. Like makes no sense.
You have to give the student athletes the freedom to do what's best for them.
Exactly. Yeah.
So let's kind of dive back into your college career.
Okay.
So when did you really see that breakout in your personal career where you were like, okay, I can play high level college basketball? And then what was your recruitment kind of like? Did you have multiple offers? What made you want to go to Missouri Southern?
So I think I only had 2 offers.
Mm-hmm.
No, I had 3. I had 3 offers. And the one I was going to go to was in Hawaii. That was like my first, because I was like, if they send the letter of intent now, I'm out. Like I'm gone. And then, but the other one was in Texas, and I was like, I'm not going to Texas. Actually, I have 4 now. Now I think about it. because I was like, I had to get out of Texas. I was tired of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
There's another one. A coach actually flew from Alaska because he was it Boozer? I think Carlos Boozer's from Alaska, something like that. It was either
Really?
Boozer or Trey Gilling. It was one of those guys from Duke that was from Alaska, and he, that was and they had seen me play in a tournament, and they were like, yeah, we really, really want you. And so I was basically before the deadline, I was like basically I'd say less than a week from signing that, because I didn't even tell my parents. I was like, I guess I was like, this is where I'm going, because I wasn't going to one in Texas, and I stopped hearing from Hawaii, and I was like, I guess I'm going to Alaska to go to school.
Yeah.
And then Missouri Southern came in, and they flew me out there and recruited, and I was like, well, at least my parents can come see me play here, and so that's where I signed. So when they came in, I mean, I think they know now. If they don't, they will know now. But I was real close to going to Alaska for college because, I mean, that was kind of like the final offer,
Yeah.
11:59 offer, whereas it's like, all right, I guess that's where I'm going. And then Missouri Southern came in and they were like, hey, we want you. And I was like, and it was close and it was nice, and they had just built a new gym and all this stuff. And coach, he told me, like, we have these guys here, and like 3 or 4 of them were on the Puerto Rican national team,
Mm-hmm.
and they had just went to the tournament the year before. So I was like, okay, like we can go to the tournament, more exposure, the Puerto Rican so like there's another side of basketball, and this is before I even got into the international side of basketball. But I was thinking, the Puerto Ricans on my team, that like I'm learning from them. And like it was just a good fit,
Right.
So that's why I was like, I'll go there.
When you look back on that experience at Missouri Southern now, like what sticks out to you? Like what lessons do you feel like you learned? What were your favorite moments?
So to answer the second part of that question, when I went to Missouri Southern my senior year, I was playing, and there was a guy on my team, and he was like, man, he said, I think you should play pro. I think you should go pro. So that's kind of to answer the question now. That's what a moment I really remember, because like seeing, like I was always, like I said, I always worked hard. Like working hard was, it was simple to me, because I just, you just do the work, and then, the results will come sooner or later. But I remember like when I was playing with one of the guys, he was like from Ohio or something like that. He's the one actually, that's a crazy story. He's the one that was telling me about LeBron James before LeBron James came out. He's like, yeah, there's this high school kid in Ohio. He's killing. And I was like, high school? He's like, yeah. And then we watched him on ESPN, and ended up being LeBron James.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. But he's the one that was like, he's like, real. I was like, real talk. You should. I said, you probably you should go pro, because you could play pro. And like I was going, like I was already going to pursue it, but like when you get like, like your peers are like, it's like, man, like he's really good. Like I was like, okay, like it just, again, that motivation talk, like it just get, like I was gonna pursue it regardless, but like he just like, okay, I'm on the right path. Let me continue to work and push myself. So that's one of the, I really remember that part from him too, which I appreciate.
Right. Yeah. I think kind of like what you said, like anytime you hear somebody else recognize, you and tell you, like, I think it's just really empowering, right? And
Yeah.
I think it gives you a lot of confidence. Kind of talk to me about that transition to overseas basketball, because I'm sure it was a journey just finding a spot to play. And I'm sure there were a bunch of camps and stuff like that took place, and I'm sure you had to find an agent. So what was that process like for you?
So, that was definitely a process. So this is, back to the earlier point where I was talking about like college and stuff, because I just remember, and I've shared this story many times, but I just remember that, after my senior year, coach called me, and, there's an exit interview,
Yeah.
everybody has that exit interview.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, I appreciate you, everything that you've done. You're probably, you are one of the best leaders I've had part of this, this college. I wish you all the best. And he gave me like a couple agents' card. Next, he closed the door.
Yeah.
Next, and like, Like, oh damn, that's it.
Yeah.
It's like, we're done. I was like, and so that's why, that's why, and that's kind of, especially the academy part of my business. That's why I was like, I always think about helping players get to, because like that transition where it's like, what's next is tough. So I called that agent, and he said that he had camps and stuff like that. I think his was in Vegas, and this is when the internet was like a baby, brand new. You try to search and stuff like that. So I went online and just looked for, camps, basically, in the area, Dallas, and then some around the country and stuff like that. And that's what I did. So, like I didn't have an agent. Like I had to basically go prove myself. Like I had to go to camps to prove myself. So I went to, I think it was like 3 camps that summer. I went to Vegas, and that wasn't the NBA camp. It was an overseas camp. I went to one in, I think it was Charlotte, and then there was another one. Was it Orlando or was it Louisville? I don't remember. But I just tried, I was trying to get as much exposure as possible. And then, obviously technology and video isn't like it is now. I mean, I think they were just making the transition from VHS to DVD at the time. So I was trying to like, hey, can I get that, hey, let me get that tape.
Yeah.
And they was like, oh yeah, we'll make you a copy. Obviously they never made a copy, But the one all I had basically was the video from my college, and so I had to go get those VHS tapes for my copy, from my college, and I had to copy them to DVD, and then from DVD I had to send those off to all these teams and stuff like that. And then my breakthrough really was my teammates from Puerto Rico, because they went back and they went to go play in the league, and so I called them. I was like, hey, I'm really want to give this overseas stuff a try. Can I come down and try out for that league? And he was real cool about it. He let me stay in his crib. So, I was couch surfing there. And basically I went to try for 2 teams. I tried for his team, but they already had an import. So I went to try for another team. And they had Stanley Roberts, who played with Shaquille O'Neal at LSU. And then I was going to be the other one, but I didn't have my Panamanian passport at the time. But the guy that got me that tryout, he was the one that was telling me, like, hey, your dad's Panamanian, right? It was like, yeah. He was like, well, he said, well, you should get your passport and then you can play for the team. But then there's like, when I finished trying out, because they liked me, they were like, well, you gotta wait till next season, because this season's almost over. And so basically I went home, after my, like I said, I stayed there about a month, maybe a little bit over a month, but like a month, and that season was still going on. So I went home, and then about a month later, maybe less than a month later, the guy called me, and then I went to go play for the Panama national team. And so that's kind of how my career kind of took off. So, like I said, it was really no agent. It was just me. And this is why I tell people all the time, because like when you got to believe in yourself, you got to invest in yourself. Like there's always again, like you're talking about the motivation and stuff like that. Like you have to like know, like the dream and the vision that you see is, you see it. Nobody else sees it. Like you can talk about it.
Yeah.
But like nobody sees it but you. It's like, it's what you see with your eyes. So like once you invest in yourself, like, and that's what I did. I didn't know I was doing that at the time. I just knew I was just doing things blindly, like hoping that something would come, But the thing is, I wasn't, I'll say I wasn't scared, but like, I was scared, but because I didn't, like, it's the unknown. But like when I look back now, it's like a great story to tell. But like I just knew that I was just investing myself, not knowing I was investing myself, because you just have to invest in yourself to, get the solution that you want. So like that's kind of like my 2 rules in life now. It's like rule number 1, invest in yourself. Rule number 2, look at rule number 1. Yeah. So you have to invest in yourself, in some way, shape, or form. This can be with either time or money. Like so if you don't have the money, you got to use the time. If you have the money, you got to use your time and money. It's just going to kind of speed up the process a little faster.
And I
So-
think investing in yourself just provides so much self-belief and
Oh,
confidence in yourself.
1,000%. 1,000%.
And it's kind of like what they always say, if you're not learning, you're not growing.
Yeah.
So like I think being addicted to learning is a really, really good thing, and being willing to invest in yourself is essential.
Every championship team needs reliable players, and in the kitchen, your equipment is your starting lineup. You need stainless steel solutions that perform under pressure, help you stay in the game, and finish the job. That's where Advanced Tabco's Smart Fabrication comes in. Just like a professional team trusts its MVP, you can trust Smart Fabrication to help you with all of your kitchen needs. From work tables to sinks to custom fabrications, Advanced Tabco delivers precision, durability, and excellence to help you win on every play. Whether you're running a fast food service kitchen or you're being meticulous about every detail, Smart Fabrication is built for the high stakes of food service. It's designed to help you optimize your space, maximize your workflow, and get consistent results every single time. And in a world where every second counts, there's no room for turnovers. That's why Advanced Tabco's Smart Fabrication is your go-to teammate for building a kitchen that works just as hard as you do. Ready to bring home your food championship? Visit advancedtabco.com and get the equipment that helps you deliver the win.
What advice would you offer, kids that are making that transition from college to pro? And what would you just say, like, how should they navigate that? Is that kind of like what you did and just going to as many camps as possible? Is that, being really selective with, who you choose as an agent, or what do you kind of think?
Well, I think, it's different now. So I always say, so I remember paying, I think it was like $5,000 or something like that for this advice. So whoever's actually listened to it, they're getting it for free.
Mm-hmm.
And they told me to record everything. And I thought about it, and I was like, why you record everything? He's like, because it's content. One, it's your journey, but then two, it's like content. So like if you are playing college basketball, TBT, whatever, get all the content that you can get. If you're training, whatever, get all that content, record everything, and then now you have a content or a library of things where you can actually, when people ask you for something, it's you give them the stuff that's as recent as possible. But if you don't have anything that's recent, you still have a library they can go back and look. So
Right.
Because the thing is like if you have like 1,000 videos out there, and then somebody looks at 10, there's like, man, I'm not gonna go through 1,000, but he's been doing this basketball thing for a while. So now there's a different level of appreciation because you're recording everything, and like there's a journey that you've invested in for yourself, and now you're bringing people into your journey as well.
Right.
So now you have you're playing for a college. Can't say college names because they haven't sponsored you yet. But you're playing for a college, and you got the highlights, and you got the game, you got the highlights or whatever, or you're playing for an AAU program, you got the highlights, you got the game, and then when people ask, what is it that you've done or whatever, you can just send them to a link now. Like we didn't have, like I said, I didn't have that. You know what I'm saying? So now the work has been done. Like you're doing the work already ahead of time. So so all you're doing is sending them to a link. And that makes it simple for you because and now if they what's this called, because again now you have the leverage because they're like, oh I didn't see this and this is it's like, did you look at the link?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I did my work by uploading and doing whether it's performing and getting in the lab and all that stuff, but all you have to do, like I made it easy for you just to go look at the link.
Right.
And you can ask anybody on my team, so I would say that's the advice I would give is just, one, record everything, of course. And then two, just like, you got to put in the work. Like, don't expect, like, how can I put this? Like, people expect things to happen to them.
Right.
Like, don't expect it if you're not doing the work.
Right.
Like, if you do the work, you can expect it, but it's not going to be on your time, if that makes sense. Like, so if you're doing the work and you're on your journey, like things will happen, but you just can't expect it. You can't expect it to be like, it's supposed to happen now. No, it's supposed to happen when it's supposed to happen, but you got to, believe the work that you're putting in.
Right. The door will open at the right time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because, if you stay ready, you got to get ready.
Right. So it seems like you've been really, really intentional to kind of carry forward that lesson that you learned about documenting everything into your entrepreneurial career as well.
Yeah.
So you've been doing a lot of media, right? And you've been on some podcasts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is
nothing like this one?
Right? Yeah, there you go. There you go. Would you recommend that to everybody too? Like that like documenting that journey even after basketball is incredibly valuable?
I would say that like that's only if you want. Like, it depends on what you want to do in your entrepreneurial journey. But I would say, like, from a marketing standpoint, it makes it a lot easier because the thing. So especially in my line of work, like we, I got to teach prospecting, going out there, talking to people, learn how to engage, and pique their interest, pique curiosity and lower resistance. So I got to prospect and ask questions to be able to bring people in to, my world, or I said our world since it's the whole industry space. But a simple way to do that is through media. So now if I'm educating, my audience through media, then I'm doing my job, and the internet's doing the job for me, because now while I'm sleeping, somebody can type in a question that I've answered, or they can go to a page while I'm sleeping, and or they can come up to my page while I've been sleeping or whatever, and then now they're like, oh, like, oh, I see this person online. So now, like, like I'm leveraging, online and the internet to do a lot of the stuff for me online, but I still got to do offline stuff too, but the thing is, I don't want to do the offline stuff forever.
Right.
And so that's kind of the quote unquote beauty of it. It's like, like I get to teach, the prospecting and the recruiting stuff. But the online stuff is kind of where, when you talk about the media, you got to be some type of hybrid and be able to do both, because unless you want to just, you're not going to be every place at one time, but you're going to wear yourself out if you're trying to be everywhere at once. Just instead, just use platforms to get you in front of your audience to answer the questions that they're asking.
Right, and it gives you credibility, and it also it gives you direct contact with the people that want to learn about what you talk about.
Absolutely.
So I think that's super valuable. So diving back into your professional career, so you did 13 seasons, right? You played 13 seasons. Did you, like, how many countries did you play in? And then did you have a favorite spot? Did you have a least favorite spot? Like, what was that journey like?
It was, so as far as playing, I would say, I've been in over 40 countries and counting.
40?
Yeah, but I played probably like in half of them. And then I would say my favorite spot was Australia, because I didn't have to learn the language. And I was like right on the beach too. So like I was, on the Perth side, I was on Western Australia, and then every time I would wake up, I just walk up this hill, and down the hill you just see the beach. And I think it was Perth side, so it was the Indian Ocean. And so that was just, I just remember waking up to that every day. I was like, man, this is dope. This is awesome. But then like as far as like culture, like I would say like either Argentina or Venezuela. Like I really like those countries because everybody's like, hey, the third world countries, and the reason why the third world is just only because of the technology. But like the food is amazing, the people are amazing, like it's all laid back. And then like in Argentina, they have what they call siesta, which is, have you heard of this before, siesta?
I think so.
Okay, so basically you work from 8 to 12, and everything shuts down at 12 except like food restaurants or whatever. And so from 12 to 4, people go home, literally go home, shut their shops down. You have a retail, whatever, just like, your business, you just go home, eat, rest, take a nap, and just relax. And then at 4 o'clock, it opens back up, and you go 4 to 8, and then
you're done.
And then you're done. So
do you prefer that?
I did. Yeah. They did in Spain too. I know Argentina and Spain are kind of like affiliate, but I remember they're doing it in Spain too. But like, yeah, it was, because like, you just like it's like a form of like you really, like, you're not working, like you just shut everything off, you rest, you recharge your body, you eat. So yeah.
It is really it's really, really difficult to sustain a career overseas for 13 seasons.
Yeah.
How important, we kind of talked a little bit about this off camera. How important was routine for you, and kind of and also how did you establish your routine?
Well, routine is everything. That's kind of how I've established, when we talk about transition, I transitioned to my entrepreneur career because and the thing is, I didn't even know I had a routine until like I went back and started paying attention to what I was doing. Because if you have a daily routine, that's when you're gonna really get things done. Like right now, I'm in the middle of I should say in the beginning of doing, like, I added the 75 hard challenge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so like I'm trying to. You've heard of that before,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So that's kind of hard implementing that with my daily routine, but with the daily routine, it's just that's pretty much everything. Because if you have a list of things to do that you're gonna do every single day or every morning that you start out, like that can kind of shows your progress. Like if you're just getting up and just like, oh, what am I gonna do today? Or I know I got to do this, or like there's no discipline and there's no routine behind that, and then now you're gonna be overwhelmed, or now you're gonna be struggling because things are piling up that you need to do. Then there's all these different new gadgets or new technology. So now you're like the shiny object syndrome, like squirrel. So you're all over the place. But just having a simple daily routine, it just speaks volumes on having a productive day.
Right. So what? I guess you said you didn't really even realize that you were establishing a routine.
No, I did not.
But when you were playing, like, what was your routine? I'm sure it changed based on where you were playing, and just like the schedule, or like when y'all practiced, it would probably change, right? But what would that kind of look like?
So before I even went overseas, like I would always like to get up early and lift weights. So I would like to have my weights done like right before 6. So, but when I was playing overseas, the gym didn't open. No gyms open till 9, and that frustrated me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do, sad to say, I didn't have, R.I.P. Kobe. I didn't have the mama mentality just to do push-ups in my in my room and stuff like that. I was just like, I just like,
right,
yeah, or run around the neighborhood or whatever. So, so basically I waited till so when we had practice at 9, then I would go. Actually, you know what? They did have the weight room that opened at 8, so I would go to the weight room early and I would do like a small workout before they would pick me up for practice. So after that, I would go to practice, and then we would go to practice, and then we do that for 2 hours, and then I would go eat, and then after eat, then I would go to sleep, and then after I would wake up, have a snack, and then I would go work out, and then we would go train again. And after train, then we go to dinner, and we basically that would be the routine unless it was game day. Game day would change, but that's basically how it was, like 4 or 5 days out the week. On game days, depending on how we travel or whatever, like I would try if we weren't traveling, like, so for example, this is what people know about overseas too, like we don't get to fly everywhere.
Right.
Like there's sometimes 15-hour bus ride, so we have to leave, like, so if your game's on Saturday, you're leaving Thursday night so you can get there Saturday morning, which is, which is crazy. But if, like, so we had away games, and that would take away, like, one of my trainings, whether it's me lifting or the shoot around or something like that. And then we're not eating properly because we're on the bus. So we stop one time at a restaurant, but other than that, then you're stopping at the small stores and you got to grab snacks. So you got to just have snacks and then eat while you're on the bus. So you kind of like develop routines around those, those travel times and stuff like that. But as far as just like a simple routine, that's basically how, my overseas was, like, try to get up early, do some weights, go to practice, and then eat after practice. And after I eat after practice, try to take like an hour nap or something like that, get up, get my body moving again, have a little snack, and then go to training again, go to practice again, and then eat dinner, and then repeat,
Mm-hmm.
And then, so, yeah.
Yeah. When you're kind of mentoring, whether it's younger pros now, whether it's the kids that play at your basketball academy, what kind of advice do you give them towards, like, helping them establish their own form of routine?
Well, it's funny because I have a routine on my website that I basically give away for free,
mm-hmm.
and like only like a small percentage of them download it. So I'm like, you're not serious. And
yeah,
it's kind of I say it's a catch-22, but it kind of is, because like for example, they'll show up all the time for practice, like, and then they ask me, hey coach, what is it that I need to do for, blah blah blah, whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, did you do the last homework assignment I gave you? He's like, no, something came up. I was like, well, if you finish the last homework assignment, then I can give you another one, you know?
Right.
But that's what, like, because that's the thing. It's like the things that make you successful, you know, people don't want to hear this, but it's the boring stuff. It really is, because you're just doing the same thing over and over again until you get really good at it, and then you start adding stuff. Like whether it's in business or in basketball, I always say the same thing. It's like nobody's trying to take or strip your creativity away from you. You know, there's some people maybe, but you know, I'm not one of those people.
Yeah.
Like I know, but the thing is like, people think you got to be creative first, and then you know, then you can figure it out on the way. Which, you know, it can help, or it can happen. But my thing is, like, if you learn the fundamentals, like, again, learn the rules of the game, you learn those fundamentals, and then that's when you start adding, you know, your flavor, your personality, your creativity. You know, that's what's gonna, you know, because people are gonna, you know, like, people are gonna listen to this podcast because of you. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I mean, I guess me now, because you had good creativity, they're gonna listen to me too. But that's why they're gonna come listen to it, because of you, because the value that you bring, because you know the value put into the marketplace. Like, that's why they're coming here. So, if you have that mindset, just like, let me learn this basic fundamentals, do these boring things over and over again. I mean, there's a book out there, The Compound Effect. I always talk about that. Have you read that book before?
I
Compound
haven't.
Effect? Yeah. That's what they're talking about. It's just doing the mundane things over and over again, and over time, when you look back, kind of what we're talking about, you know, when you look back, you're like, oh, like, man, like, I've came a long way. But it seemed boring to the person who doesn't want to do it, but to you, it's exciting, because you see how you've grown doing those small steps just daily.
Right. And it comes back to those, like you said, those daily disciplines, and it takes a lot of sacrifice,
It
right?
does.
Like it
It
really does. And
Yeah.
I don't think everybody is necessarily comfortable with that. You know what I mean? They want to do what they want to do when they want to do it.
That's the thing. You say you're comfortable, like, and that's the thing. You're not going to be comfortable. That's the real problem. Like, people think you can do this and be comfortable. You're not going to be like anytime you're sacrificing something, you're not going to be comfortable. I'm sorry to say that. Spoiler alert. You know, spoil.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to be comfortable when you're sacrificing something. That's just how it is.
Or anything you're trying something new.
100%.
Anytime you're trying something new. It's like this podcast, and like what we were talking about off camera. It's like the first one, we're going to look back on it, it's going to be like, wow, like we've come a long way. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, that's part of the process of it. Well, sweet. We have a sponsor segment, and I think we kind of touched on it earlier, but it's Clutch Moments, presented by Clutch Shots AI. And I just wanted to ask you, like, what is a clutch moment in your life, whether it's on the court, off the court? When did something happen in your life that kind of changed the trajectory of it? Or did somebody, you know, give you a good piece of advice at the right time? Or is it on the court, right? Did you make a clutch shot that you'll forever remember?
Well, there is a clutch shot that this was in Australia, actually. And this was, I think I only left 1 second. I wanted to be 0, but I left 1 second left on the clock. So I was looking up at the clock, and it was running down, and there was somebody in front of me, and they were like slowly trying to pressure me. And like I wasn't budging. I was really in the moment too, which was crazy. You know, I was in a clutch moment.
Yeah.
And then one of the guys came and they said a pick on me. We just talking about, they say pick, and they changed it. And I was like, so as soon as they changed it, I seen a spot that I wanted to go to right there on the left side. So I dribbled quick to that spot, and I raised up and I shot it. And the guy, he was all over me. He like, I fell down too.
Yeah.
I fell down and I hit the shot, and the crowd went wild. And I didn't like, as soon as I left my hand, I was like, this is going in. I didn't even see the basket. I didn't even see the basket, because he took away all my space. So I didn't even see the basket. But as soon as I left my hand, I was like, this is going in. And then when I fell, I looked to the side, and I just seemed to hit nothing but net, and the crowd went wild. And I was just like, yeah, that was nice.
Those are the moments you'll never forget.
That was one of the moments I'll never forget. It was nice.
That's awesome, man. And one thing I meant to ask you, and before we go, I just kind of wanted to ask you about your journey with health and wellness, because you still play all the time. You're in great shape. You talked about the fasting that you're doing. You talked about 75 hard.
Yeah.
Like, what has health and wellness, like, what kind of impact has that had on you just being a successful individual, whether that was on the court, entrepreneurially? What kind of impact has it made on your life?
Well, I think it's everything, because like, you know, I think especially as an entrepreneur and as a business owner, like we get in these spells, especially in the beginning, where you want to like you're trying to chase money. It's like, hey, I need to go find this client. Hey, I need to do this, because it's going to bring me more money and stuff like that. And then in that process, you see that basically you're talking about growing, but so you're either growing or you're dying. So in that process, you feel like it's like, man, I have low energy. Just feel like I'm not getting anywhere. So I, like me personally, what I've done is just like I put real, again, talking about investing, I just invested in my health, whether it's my mental, where it's my physical, where it's my spiritual, I'm investing in that. And then what I've learned is that when you start investing in that, then things will start, you're not chasing anything anymore. You're attracting. So now all of a sudden you're a magnet. So now you're attracting, the clients that you're looking for. Now you're attracting, the people that you want in your life. And that's a beautiful thing about, running a business too, and especially in, the direct sales business I'm in. It's like you can pick and choose the clients and the people that you want to work with. Like when you go, no people, no offense to people who have, everyday jobs, but like there's some people in those everyday jobs, when you wake up, you just wake up, you're like, man, I don't want to talk to that person today, or man, I don't want to, I got to hear their mouth today, or I got to hear her mouth, and they're going to be complaining. I mean, but that's part of that, what you're talking about. It's just part of that mental health. Like, people are putting a lot of energy on trying to control other people, but they don't have control of themselves. They don't have self-awareness or self-love for themselves. So if you start investing in yourself, the mental, the spiritual, the physical, all of a sudden you're doing a 180, and now things are starting to attract to you. You're starting to, get the people you want in your life. You're starting to get the money that you want to make in your life. Like all that stuff is starting to like slowly grow into fruition. And then, like when you're talking about the team for the NIL stuff, it's just like you have teams in your business and, players in your business that, when you start having those ideas, I always, one book I always promote, it's really, really boring, but it's really, really powerful. It's Think and Grow Rich, because they talk about the power of mastermind. Like, if you're by yourself and you do solo stuff, then you can, move faster. But if you want to move further, then you have to have somebody with you, because two minds are better than one. And especially if it's the somebody who has the same, you have the, those like-minded individuals, and, four minds are better than two, you know what I mean? So it's just like, if you get around those people, then like that environment, you start to create a culture and a community. It's like, this is what I've always wanted, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. And I feel like it has been proven true many times. You kind of are who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
And so that is incredibly valuable. Well, Jay, thank you so much, man. This has been awesome. Really have enjoyed the conversation. Before you go, just tell the listeners, is there anywhere that they can follow you, where they can find information about your basketball academy, about your sales job, anything like that?
Yeah, so which camera I'm looking at? This one. There you go. So my basketball academy is SSI Academy. You can follow, subscribe. It's on YouTube. I'm on all social media platforms. On my website, ssiacademy.com. And then for my business, if you want, I have a lot of free offers on there. It's just askjwarren.com, askjwarren.com. And then you can follow me on any of those social media platforms as well. Ask Jay Warren.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jay.
Man,
this has been awesome.
Man, appreciate you having me on. It's been a pleasure.
Yep, it's been fun. Well, sweet. Everybody, thank you for watching. Stay tuned. More episodes will be on the way. Thanks.
Thank you for tuning into the Beyond the Arc podcast. If you have not already, make sure that you go ahead and like this episode and subscribe to our channel, and go follow our guests on all of their platforms that they may have. We will link them down below in the description. And make sure that you go follow us on our socials as well. We are preparing for the 2025 TBT tournament, and we are planning on making a very big and very exciting run. So make sure that you follow us to stay tuned with everything that we have going on here. And with all of that being said, keep on running.